What is up, Babylonians? Dan was here, and today we're going to be looking at the latest dev news that they have brought out today. That is the 19th of August 2021. So here is the general news that they have for us. So this is what they say. There's been a lot of discussion about Outriders this week, and we're sure that everyone has many thoughts and questions about their understanding of the situation and what it means for Outriders and its future. However, there is only really one thing to say. Our plans for the future of Outriders remain unaffected. Nothing has changed. We, together with People Can Fly, are continuing to work closely together on improving and expanding the core Outriders experience on all platforms and remain very excited for the future of the game. It is worth mentioning that as our patches to date have and are continuing to address most of the bugs that players may have experienced, our teams are beginning to shift more focus towards working on and implementing much requested new features and content. We'll talk more about this new horizon, as well as other Outriders related things we've been working on in the near future. So what does this mean for us then? So as you can see, they've mentioned that the plans for Outriders remain unaffected. Nothing has changed, which will mean that when they announce that they are going to look towards getting new content out for us, as well as fixing bugs, that still remains their end goal. So I think we've all seen there's been a bit of controversy recently with I think the payments for the profits of the game have not been seen by People Can Fly. So we don't know the situation behind that. We don't know what their contracts are, so we can't go into that ourselves. But what we can say is that it's great news that they have said that they are still going to continue to support the game. They're going to support that by creating new content, as well as continuing to fix the bugs. And as you can see, they have mentioned that they are beginning to shift their focus from purely looking at fixing these bugs to actually focusing on new content and new features. What content and features that is, we do not know just yet, but we can speculate. So there are many things that the community want, such as, for example, an armory, somewhere where you can store your items as a set, so you can just go to the armory, you can select those items and you'll equip them, including skills and your class node tree. Other people want larger stash and many other things, including the transmogrification, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called, where you can wear one piece of armor or one weapon but have it looking as another one. So you can actually use your purple items and have them looking at as if they are your amazing legendary items, so you can wear the full set. Whether it's anything like that, we don't know, but that's something that we can hope for. Something that just gives the game that slight improvement and bring us back into the game, playing it, grinding for those items that we want to be able to wear, but that we don't see a point in wearing, or having just sort of quality of life improvements to the game. And then they've mentioned new content, whether this is story content, which I know a lot of people really enjoy the story and the lore of this game. So hopefully there's going to be some more story content that those people can enjoy, but also end game content, which I think is what most people are after. So with the end game content, we are hoping, personally, myself, Songs of Rays, and Benzo, we're all hoping for some content in terms of removing the time trial and implementing something more like a horde mode, where you can have waves and waves of enemies coming at you, see how long you can survive. And maybe even, I think we've had someone in the community, Stefan, suggest that what if we went from, we're on tier CT 15 now, what about CT 16, that has no time limit, but has improved armor and weapons of a higher tier, maybe level 51, for example, 52. But there's no limit on how quickly you have to complete these expeditions, but you can complete them at a harder difficulty, so enemies may be 1 or 2 or more levels above you, so it does give you that sense of danger, that extra difficulty. Something like that maybe, but again, we're just speculating here, so hopefully soon we'll know more about what content will be coming out. Now let's have a look at what new the new patch that they are working on. It's currently in the testing phase, they've said, so let's have a read through those patch notes now. So the latest patch notes, like I said, it's currently in the testing cycle. So they are trying to validate the below fixes. So some of them may not be 100% guaranteed for the next patch, but if they do get them sorted, they will be in the next patch. If they're not sorted, then they'll obviously roll those over into the next patch. So what they're looking to do is further improved visibility of the Broodmother's Surge area of effects skill. So with this, I definitely do find it is a problem myself. The blue flames can sometimes get hidden in like the foliage or anything else that's going on around you. So it isn't the most clear of skills to detect, and sometimes you start burning and you're almost dead before you know it. If you're surrounded, that really doesn't help. They're also looking to fix a bug that's preventing players from reviving themselves and other players after using a Trickster's Borrowed Time skill. This is something that has affected me many times in the past. I stopped using the Borrowed Time skill long ago, though, purely on this. So that was quite annoying. You could go down and you can't pick yourself up, or your teammate goes down, you can't pick them up. That could be the end of the expedition for you, because then it's you against the world there, really. So it's next to impossible sometimes to win when you've got the odds stacked against you. So it'd be good to see that improved and fixed, and then maybe more people go back to that skill as well. It is a great skill. It can be used to increase your firepower, your armor, or even get out of a sticky situation. But it's not something you want to use if you've got a large chance of it being bugged and you're not being able to actually complete expeditions due to this. They're looking to resolve an issue as well that could cause the game to stutter when engaging crawlers, and also causing players to stutter when entering the drained lake during the third enemy encounter in the Scorchlands expedition. So you may have watched our stream a couple of days ago, and we were having this exact issue on stream. It is quite annoying. It doesn't really stop you from playing the game. It's just more of it gives you a bit of a headache really watching it going on. Next up, so resolved an issue that prevented secondary characters from picking up journal entries if they had already been collected on a different character. So with this, it was more of an annoyance. You couldn't get the lore whilst playing through as a second character, and you could never, whilst using that second character, go through collecting each of the journals in order to try and get that full completion rates, get the accolade, get the Steam achievement. So they're going to be hopefully having that resolved as well. Resolved an issue that would force matchmaking privacy settings to open. Privacy settings should remain closed when set. So definitely we've come across this at least once. We've had it on closed, but it forces it to open. Just sort of helps. With us as content creators, we don't always want people to hop in. So it's nice to have that guarantee that it will be closed, as well as improving it for people who are jumping in through the matchmaking and getting into an AFK lobby. They've added an AFK status for players on the friends list, so you know who not to jump into. We've not really had that problem ourselves, but there's definitely going to be people out there who have jumped into a friend's game, and to find that they're just not there. Change the behaviour of Devastator's Impale, so that the game will detect impaled enemies as dead even before they disappear. This is something that Songs of Rage has actually been begging for, because this will mean that you'll be able to get expeditions done faster when playing as a Devastator. The dead, quotation marks, enemies would still be classed as alive whilst they are impaled, and you would have to sometimes wait 2 or 3 seconds, maybe more, before you could then move on to the next section, because those final enemies that are on your impale are causing the game to believe that there's still enemies for you to kill. The Devastator's reflect bullets. Skill will now protect from the Scythian projectile attacks. So that will mean, so it's basically those birds that will attack you from the air using the, I guess it looks like scales or daggers or something flying towards you. For me, that's an easy one. So they should be classed as a projectile like a bullet. I know they're not called bullets, but I think they should have been affected by the skill from the start. Fix a bug that could prevent Devastators from being able to consistently dodge if they had auto-reflect mod active. Again, just the quality of life. Not everyone uses the dodge, but it is a very useful skill to use. I'll say skill. Very useful mechanic to use, so this will help Devastators be able to avoid taking that damage even more. Fixed a bug that could cause client shots to sometimes deal no actual damage to enemies. I found this mostly on, I believe it's is it the Breachers? I forget the name of them now, but I could find that I'll be shooting them constantly, dealing absolutely no damage. It was more of an annoyance than anything. It never caused a major problem, but again, for people that are trying to do speed runs and you're trying to do damage to an enemy and it's just not registering, then that's just going to cause you extra seconds on your time that you really do not want. And then if we look at the next one, so to fix the bug that caused Technomancer's Plague Sower set to not proc consistently. Again, this is just the quality of life, really. It probably didn't affect too many people too much, but we're now going to have that proccing more consistently, hopefully 100% of the time when it should do. Fix the bug that caused Plague Sower and the Cannibal Legend sets not to retain their set bonus after a transition. Again, this is very similar to the Borealis set where the set bonus stopped working. I personally wasn't aware that this was the case for Cannibal and Plague Sower, but it's great that they've found that out. They are fixing that as well. Fix the bug that could cause set mods like Grand Opening not to proc if the player was on their last magazine. I know Songs of Rage has said a few times it's had an issue with Grand Opening. I personally haven't used it myself, but fingers crossed this is going to be what he was on about and this is going to sort that issue, because if it's using it on blighted rounds, for example, then you're going to only have 1 or 2 magazines of that. If you only have the 1 magazine of that, then that's going to be when it's not going to proc. They've also looks like they're fixing some crashes. That could be, as you probably saw on the stream the other night, that when you load the game up it crashes, or when we started a expedition it crashes as well. And then they've labelled other minor bug fixes as well. So hopefully that's going to, again, improve the quality of life for you. And fingers crossed people are going to stop being so negative on this game. There's going to be less dunks on the game. And we're all going to, as I like to say, enjoy.